Okay, so I think we can all agree that at least one of us has gone down the bizarre rabbit hole known as internet horror. Ever since the early and more primitive days of the internet, there's always been this weird fascination with horror, or as it's most commonly referred to as, creepypastas. Whether they're made through message boards, photo edits, video ARGs, or even just lost media, it's just such an interesting rabbit hole to explore. We are always left wondering what is real and what is fake, questioning all the images we are seeing, only to eventually grow older and ask ourselves, how the fuck was I scared of that? Yeah, sad truth of growing old is that the media we used to find scary just doesn't really hit the same as it used to. Now, that's not to say that there wasn't some really scary stuff on the internet back then. Buried under YouTube are some chilling videos and stories that can still scare people to this day. You have videos like Blank Room Soup, which continues to leave more questions than answers, or more recent stuff like Smart Schoolboy 9, which you think is another creepypasta. But then you look further into it and you see stuff that you were not mentally prepared for. Seriously, if you haven't heard of Smart Schoolboy 09, then just please stay away from that. It's genuinely one of the creepiest and weirdest rabbit holes I've ever gone down. But internet horror is still thriving today thanks to sites like Instagram and TikTok, where creators have been able to produce some effective and downright terrifying content, but they can never capture that classic internet horror feeling. Back in the days where we believed a shitty Photoshop image was real or that killer clowns existed. Like, remember that killer clown craze? That was some wild times. But back on track, I think we all get nostalgic from time to time when it comes to classic internet horror, especially around the scary season of October. And thus, I have decided to go over the most memorable pieces of internet horror and creepypastas, and see if they were actually scary for the time, and of course see how they hold up today. And just a little disclaimer, if you guys are sensitive to horror stuff, then maybe you should click off this video. I won't be showing anything too graphic here, but I understand if you guys don't like some creepy imagery. Now for the brave soldiers that are still here, let's get into this video. It's gonna be fun. Now, what other way to start this video than to look at one of the more iconic faces of internet horror, good old Jeff the Killer. Whether you've been on the internet or not, you have almost certainly seen this lad. He's basically become the official face of internet horror, and has spawned merchandise, cosplays, fan art, and so many interpretations to the story of the image. But the main story that everyone knows goes like this.
Jeff was once a protective 13-year-old boy who cared deeply for his family. After a tragic incident and going insane, he became a murderous, dangerous, and merciless homicidal psychopath.
Yeah, very original, am I right? There is a lot more to the story, albeit fairly generic.
Jeff and his family moved to Newtown, where him and his younger brother get terrorized by local bullies. During one of these attacks, Jeff gets acid poured on his face, then gets lit on fire, causing him to go insane and giving birth to his iconic look.
Whoa, watch out Tolkien, this is some of the most complex character writing I have ever seen in years. But no one really cared about the story behind Jeff, what people really cared about the most was his face. This image of him has become something of an internet classic. It's such a fascinating picture cause it's both kinda funny yet also kinda scary. Like, I think we are all at one point haunted by his face. Like, it's clearly faked, that's fairly obvious, but something about it just evokes fear. I think it's the large smile, fake eyes, and white face that just makes it so frightening. But if you think this image is scary, then wait until you see the earlier versions. Yes, there is more than just one photo of Jeffy. I think the creepiest one has got to be the green-eyed Jeff. Something about it just makes me feel genuinely uncomfortable. I think that's because it's more realistic than the previous images. It just enters that uncanny valley of creepiness. There is, of course, a much larger story behind the actual image. It's believed that the story started off in 4chan in 2011, but in reality, it actually originated from a Newgrounds post in 2008. But then it goes back even further in 2007, where the image briefly shows up in this really bizarre YouTube video that apparently showcases a Japanese TV station that got hacked. It's nothing really special, just another early and weird creepypasta. But it's so weird how Jeff just appears with no explanation. But even with all that, the image was appearing even earlier in 2005 on an old website called Paya. Yeah, the origins behind Jeff the Killer is very strange. Like, we don't even know what the original photo looks like. There are a few pictures floating around that claim to be the real ones, but nothing has been confirmed yet. Honestly, the story behind the Jeff the Killer image is so long that I cannot condense it down into one video. Blame It on George made a great detailed video discussing the image and its history, so go check that out. But in the end, while Jeff the Killer may be a product of this time, there's no doubt that it made a huge impact on internet culture. And yeah, I'll admit it, it's pretty damn creepy to look at. And having a creepypasta image that still remains creepy after almost 20 years is quite an impressive feat. So congratulations, Jeffy. You managed to still remain a classic part of internet horror. Now let's move on to another creepypasta that I'm sure will have the same legacy as Jeff, right? Right? Oh, Slenderman, what a fascinating case we have here. Someone who could have been a horror icon even to this day. But thanks to greedy executives, this once beloved character has become a mere laughingstock. Totally. Kind of. Sort of. Not really. Look, Slenderman is a very interesting case here. Like, I remember Slenderman being everywhere back in the early 2010s. Then he just became forgotten out of nowhere. But the question still remains, was he even scary in the first place? Well, first, let's look back at his origins. Slenderman was created way back in 2009, first originating on the Something Awful internet forum. There was a Photoshop contest where users had to create a paranormal image, and this is where a man named Eric Kunsten posted these two black and white images in which they show a group of children with a tall, lanky figure wearing a suit in the background. It helped that he created a story behind the photo, including a quote that reads,
"We didn't want to go, we didn't want to kill them, but its persistent silence and outstretched arms horrified and comforted us at the same time."
These photographs and quotes were simple, yet very effective at explaining to people what kind of character Slenderman even was. And very quickly, he became viral on the internet. And let me tell you, he was everywhere. There was a plethora of creepypastas written about him, ARG videos on YouTube, but probably the most popular form of Slenderman media was the video game adaptation, Slenderman the 8 Pages. This game was really popular back in the day. It was basically the Five Nights at Freddy's of its time. The game has you going around collecting 8 pages and avoiding the Slenderman. The game is also known for being the original subject of a game theory episode before MatPat decided to cover FNAF instead. And fucking hell, it's incredible how one small decision can lead to a man being pushed to the brink of insanity. After the first game was released, several sequels and spin-offs were released, but none really had the same impact as the first game. Still, the game without a doubt really boosted Slenderman's popularity, but his fame wouldn't last forever as several incidents would impact his legacy. The most well-known incident was the Waukesha stabbing, where in 2014 in the state of Wisconsin, two 12-year-old girls named Anissa Weir and Morgan Geyser held down and stabbed their friend Peyton Luther over and over again. Thankfully, Peyton survived the stabbing and the two girls were eventually caught and arrested. They were taken into custody and questioned by police, and here's what the news article says.
Both suspects explained the stabbing to police, referring their dedication to Slenderman, the character they discovered on a website called Creepypasta Wiki, which is devoted to horror stories. Wire told the police that Slenderman is the leader of creepypasta, and in the hierarchy of the world, one must kill to show dedication.
Yeah, this case was very disturbing, and the two girls involved clearly had some mental issues going on, but either way, this story was everywhere. It was featured on every news article and TV station and even had a documentary made in 2017. The story put Slenderman in a really weird position. His name was now attached to this awful event, and sadly it just didn't stop from there. There was an incident that same year where a 14-year-old girl in Florida set her family's house on fire, with her mother and brother still inside, and it was reported that the girl had been reading online stories about Slenderman fairly frequently. Now, while the first major event definitely has some connection to Slenderman, the other story is clearly not. It's just the media trying to point fingers at someone and deciding to blame it on a fictional character for some reason. Now, all this media attention was both good and also bad. It was good because he now had more eyes on him than ever, but also not good because all of these incidents gave him a really bad reputation. Didn't help that in 2018, a movie based on a character simply titled Slenderman was released. And just like me, you no doubt completely forgot this movie existed. There is nothing to this movie whatsoever, just a bland and generic horror movie with no substance. Okay, that's a lie. The only somewhat interesting part of this movie is that this character named Chloe is played by the same actress who played Maria in Gen V. Too bad Gen V was also terrible. But after all the L's that Slenderman had to take over the years, was he even scary in the first place? Well, in concept, yes, he is. The idea of walking around a dark area at night and seeing this creepy, tall, and almost monster-like creature is just terrifying. And even in the game, it does give off that sense of fear perfectly. But poor Slenderman just became ridiculed on the internet.
I just wanted to be your friend!
And when I look at him, he just looks more goofy and silly than anything. Again, the idea of Slenderman is brilliant. But now he's just a product of the 2010s, and I doubt many kids nowadays will find him creepy anymore. Sorry, Slenderman, you terrified me when I was 9, but now as an adult, I just see a sad, pathetic man. You lose! Good day, sir! So when you think of video game creepypastas, there's a lot that comes to mind. Like Super Mario 64 cartridges, Sonic.exe, Bigfoot San Andreas. But easily the most well-known when it comes to gaming horror has got to be Herobrine, who originated from the popular video game Minecraft. Now, whether you've played Minecraft or not, there's a very high chance that you have at least heard about Herobrine. He's without a doubt the most popular myth in gaming, but where exactly did he come from? And how did he grow to become a massive figure in gaming? Well, to know all of that, we're gonna have to rewind back in time a bit. The first mentions of Herobrine date all the way back to Minecraft's alpha build in 2010. This was a point in Minecraft's development when it was kind of released, but they were also still technically working on it. The game had a very weird and eerie feel to it, mainly thanks to the fog, limited render distance, and the weird textures the game had. It almost felt like something straight out of Silent Hill. So with this creepy and mysterious feeling, urban legends were bound to be created, and we would soon start getting stories that would change the way people looked at Minecraft. Sometime in mid-2010, an anonymous user posted on 4chan claiming to have encountered a mysterious figure in the Minecraft world. The post contained an image and a long story. The image shows off the user in the forest, where just in the fog you can see what appears to be the default Steve skin with wide eyes just staring at the player. The story that was posted with the image claimed that they have seen some unusual structures in the world.
As I expanded the world, I saw things that seemed out of place for the random map generator to make. 2x2 tunnels in the rocks, small, perfect pyramids made of sand in the ocean, and groves of trees with their leaves cut off. I would constantly think I saw the other player in the deep fog.
The story goes on to claim that this Herobrine was a Swedish player, and further research revealed that Herobrine was actually the brother of Marcus Persson, the developer of Minecraft. The user messaged Notch to ask if this Herobrine was even his brother or if he even had a brother at all, where Notch apparently responded with,
I did, but he is no longer with us.
How gullible were we to believe this poxy bollocks? Yeah, so it's fairly clear that this story was fake, but a lot of players latched onto this Herobrine story because in all fairness, it was kinda scary. The biggest incident from a supposed Herobrine sighting came from an old stream from Copeland, where during the live broadcast he supposedly found Herobrine. The original stream was considered lost media for many years until fairly recently in 2024, when a user named, fuck off with that name, just so happened to save the stream from ages ago and uploaded it to YouTube. Now even before the stream was found and uploaded, it's been known for years that it was fake. But hey, it's cool to have a piece of lost internet history finally found. So despite all the fake news surrounding Herobrine, his popularity only continued to grow and grow over time. More and more supposed leaks and sightings continued to spread like wildfire over the internet, with people claiming that he was really in the game, and that if you zoom into your footage at a certain point, you can just vaguely make out Herobrine. You see, look, he's right there, that's totally him, guys. And I'm sorry to disappoint all the Herobrine fans out there, but he ain't real and was never in the game. I think that was obvious though. But don't let the bad news upset you, since despite Mojang never officially putting him in the game, he basically was a part of the game. He was in countless fan animations, YouTube gameplay videos, and was sort of the unofficial villain of Minecraft. I kinda wish Mojang did implement him into the game, but it's whatever. All I ask is that they include him in the fucking Minecraft movie. I don't care if he has a cameo like Thanos at the end of the Avengers, just include him in the film, you fucking cowards. But anyway, now's a good time to ask, was Herobrine actually scary? Well, in terms of design, not really. He's just a Steve skin with white eyes, nothing special. But I do think the concept of Herobrine is really scary. Minecraft is a horror game. It kind of. It gives off such a weird feeling when you play the game by yourself in the middle of the night. Almost like a horror game. It doesn't help that the game will play those fucking sounds that always terrify the shit out of me. It was just so fucking scary. And the idea of being all alone in this big world, then suddenly seeing the skin watching you in the distance is just a really scary thought. And I won't lie, I was fairly scared of Herobrine when I was young, but I was also somewhat disappointed when I actually never saw him in the game. Again, I really wish Mojang utilized Herobrine more since the concept of his character is brilliant. It would have made playthroughs of Minecraft more intense knowing that he might be in your world. But I suppose the best kind of fear is the fear of the unknown, knowing that while he's most likely not in your world, you never really know for sure. But I'm getting too deep into this. The point is that Herobrine is more of a scary concept rather than visually scary. The exact opposite of Jeff the Killer, funny enough. Anyway, I'm getting tired of all this yapping, so let's move on to a creepypasta icon that I think most of you will know. And don't you worry, this will be the last topic of the video. Ah, good old Red Mist. Fun fact, this is one of the first creepypastas based on an episode from a children's cartoon that really took off. I think everyone has at least seen that image of Squidward with the red eyes. I'd even go as far as to say that it's one of the most iconic images on the internet. Even the story behind the creepypasta was really popular, with so many people actually believing it and claiming it to be a genuine lost episode from the show. Oh man, how gullible we were back then. Now, Red Mist isn't the actual name of the supposed lost episode, and instead has a name that I can't really say on YouTube, but let's just say Squidward's Game End. Yeah, that's better. Anyway, let's take a little look into a story that scared so many of us all those years ago. It's basically your standard cartoon creepypasta story about an employee of a company seeing a messed up children's cartoon that they were never meant to see. But to be fair, this was one of the first, so I guess I'll give it credit for paving the trail of cartoon creepypastas. But let's cut to the chase. The story here is about an intern working at Nickelodeon, where some of the crew from SpongeBob bring him and another intern into a secret room to watch early cuts of a SpongeBob episode. And, well, I'll just let the story read itself.
Me and 2 other interns were in the editing room along with the lead animators and sound editors for the final cut. We received a copy that was supposed to be Fear of a Krabby Patty and gathered around the screen to watch.
Oh, Jesus. Look, I already know where this is going, so how about we just fast forward to the actual good stuff, shall we?
The shot goes to Squidward sitting on the edge of his bed, looking very forlorn. The view out of his porthole window is that of a night sky, so it isn't very long after the concert. The unsettling part is at this point there is no sound, literally no sound. The screen slowly begins to zoom in on his face. By slow, I mean it's only noticeable if you look at shots 10 seconds apart, side by side. His sobbing gets louder, more full of hurt and anger.
And I'm pretty sure you all know what happens from here. We see his creepy red eyes, he grabs his shotgun and pulls Kurt Cobain. Yeah. So yeah, fairly graphic and intense. Of course, when compared to other creepypasta stories, it really isn't that special. But like I said, it was sort of the grandfather of creepypastas based on cartoon episodes, and it stuck with a lot of people for so many years, so it clearly did something right. But one question still remains, is it scary? Well, just like Jeff the Killer, the actual creepypasta story is complete bogus. Like, not a single bit of the story is actually scary. But that damn image of Squidward with the red eyes, I don't care what people say, that image is terrifying. Call me a coward all you want, I stand by what I said. I think it's just the cartoony face mixed with those realistic red eyes. Just gives me the creeps, ugh. So in the end, Squidward's Game End is a very messy creepypasta that was somehow insanely popular. Hell, it got so popular that they even referenced the creepy image in the actual SpongeBob show. You know, after going on this journey through internet horrors and creepypastas, I've come to learn that the internet is really fucking weird. Bold statement, I know, but these stories really show off just how creative and also weird people on the internet can be. Getting to explore the strange side of internet horror really made me feel like I was traveling back in time to a much simpler time online where people had no real setbacks with what they posted. And yeah, some of these stories may be outdated and even considered cringe by today's standards. But god damn it, some of these stories are just charming, fun, and hell, they can even be kinda scary. And who knows, maybe in the future we'll get even better creepypasta stories. But for now, let's just look back at these old stories and appreciate them for what they are, even if they did terrify us and give us nightmares. Anyway, I think that's all for today. I just want to thank the people who voiced the segments in this video. They are all amazing and did a tremendous job, so please go check them out. And yeah, that is all for today. Why are you still here? The video's over. Go home.